Welcome to RER, Reduce EMF Radiation YouTube channel. Today, we welcome Mr. Prakash Munshi, a concerned citizen, raising his voice against the health hazards caused by mobile tower radiation.
This talk show series is meant for ignorant, unaware citizens of India. Let us start with EMF radiation. EMF stands for electromagnetic fields, and electromagnetic field radiation is measured as power density in terms of units of milliwatts per square meter or watts and various other units. We will only refer to it as milliwatts per square meter, as the Indian standards have been fixed based on milliwatts per square meter. What is power density? You will see from this slide, which is being shown, that power density is equal to the power transmitted by the antenna into antenna gain divided by 4 pi into the distance squared. You will appreciate that the radiation will be higher if the power transmitted is higher because it is directly proportional, and the radiation will be lower if the power transmitted will be lower. The distance from the antenna is another factor. The power density is inversely proportional to the square of the distance from the antenna. That means the further you are from the antenna, the radiation will be lower. Therefore, they say distance is your friend. Since in densely populated cities and with the kind of architecture we have in the cities, metropolitan cities of India, we cannot have distances as a factor to reduce radiation levels. The only way we can reduce radiation levels is by reducing the power density from the antennae. The maximum power permitted for transmission per antenna by the Indian government is 20 watts. But for the new technology of 4G, as you can see in their leaflets, it is 40 watts, which means that the radiation from 4G is double than the other 2G and 3G, which are at lower frequencies. What does this mean for us? It means higher the radiation, higher the health hazards. In India, what used to happen and is still happening is that the power transmission is a factor which is played upon by the industry. A simple thing, higher the power radiation, wider the coverage. Wider the coverage, lower my infrastructure costs, and lower my infrastructure costs, higher my profits, which are already well reflected in the last year's performance balance sheets, which are already published. I would now like to share with you my discussions which I had with Dr. S. Vijayalakshmi, who is a prominent spokesperson for the Cellular Operators Association of India. She was invited from America by them. The public relations company of Cellular Operators Association of India invited me for discussions with her. They told me that she will be able to convince you in 15 minutes that there are no health hazards from EMF radiation from mobile towers or mobile phones. I, as a learner, I agreed to the meeting. During the meeting, various claims were made by her of the studies she had done and how various international bodies agreed with her findings. Instead of 15 minutes, we continued for a much longer span of time, almost 2 hours, by which time I was still not convinced. At the end, I told her, would you tell me the parameters which you have used in your experiments based on the results which the international organizations have accepted your studies? She most willingly said, yes, it is 1 antenna, 2-watt power and 1 mouse, and that mouse was not affected by this radiation. It was at this time that I remembered that in India the wattage is almost 10 times more for 2G and 3G at lower frequencies, which was 20 watts. So I took her immediately to Haji Ali Juice Center. I showed her the number of antennae clusters which are there on the Haji Ali Juice Center terrace and asked her, please tell me if each antenna is at 20-watt power and at this distance, what would be the radiation level? She said, I don't know. I said, why do the policemen do not like to continue their duty for more than 7 days at this site? Would it be due to the radiation? She said, I don't know. I asked her, please tell me what are the norms in America per antenna? Are there any regulations for height, distance, or any other parameter? She said, I don't know. And therefore, I requested her that the parameters which she had based her studies were not, and I repeat, not on the ground realities prevailing in India with much higher, 10 times more power wattage and also clusters of towers. I requested her to go back to America and do fresh experiments based on these clusters and 10 times more power, and maybe could put another 20 mice into the lab test. After a year of follow-up, we were told, sorry, we cannot do this experiment. It would be cheaper to do it in India. And that's how the chapter was closed. Therefore, the industry must accept to reduce the power transmitted by the antennae to 2 watts as per the experiments conducted by Dr. Vijayalakshmi and reduce health hazards simultaneously. If one sees the norm reduction which was done on September 1, 2012 to 10% of the earlier ICNRP norms, there was no change at all in the radiation levels at the ground level. Because the norms were reduced, the actual radiations did not go down. If you again look at that formula, if they had reduced the power transmission from 20 watts to 2 watts, then only would the actual radiation at the ground level would have gone down to 10%. So the earlier reduction in norms was a total eyewash. The contention of mine has been confirmed by Mr. Chandrasekhar, the ex-secretary of DOT, on NDTV show of Barkha Dutt, We the People, when he has said that yes, we reduced the norms to 10%, while the actual levels were for 95% of the antennae unchanged. What does this mean? This means exactly what I said earlier, that it was an eyewash. He says it very clearly that this was done due to the apprehensions and perceptions of citizens like Mr. Munshi. Can we reduce the norms and radiation levels in this manner? Can we play with the lives of 1.25 billion people in this manner? They have done it on an ad hoc basis. Why did they not bring it down to 20% or 5% or 100%? We do not know, as this was not disclosed. When asked what were the actual levels of radiation on 1st September 2012, were they 100, were they 500, were they 700, or were they 50? There was no answer to that. The DOT did not give that answer, although they had term cells all over the country and they had data. Not disclosing this kind of data creates suspicion, and this is what has happened. There was no answer also when asked, please tell us at what radiation level will my health be affected. They said, we cannot give such an answer. We request you, please, to see We the People NDTV program of Barkha Dutt, which is available on our website www.controlradiation.org. In addition to this, you will find many interesting videos from international researchers and scientists. Thank you.